you very much for joining us. And this is still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get talking with our main conversation for today. Mobong, Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Special Duties and Ibom Deep Sea Port has resigned following Governor Uloma Akpabio's defection to the All Progressive Congress (APC). In a Facebook post, Mobong said his resignation complies with the governor's directive that political appointees unwilling to join the APC should step down. A member of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Mobong emphasized that his decision is based on his principles and long-standing opposition to the APC, despite respecting the governor's personal choice. He clarified that his resignation is not due to any personal conflict with the governor, whom he described as a brother and expressed deep respect for. Mobong also thanked both Governor Eno and former Governor Udome Emmanuel for their long-standing confidence in him and reflected proudly on his public service career. He appealed for understanding from those disappointed by his decision, expressing hope to contribute more if given the chance. Now let's get talking. We have joining us right here in our headquarters and studios right about now is Mobong Thompson, the coordinator at Rights Agenda Awareness Advocacy. Thank you so very much, Mr. Thompson, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so very much once more for your time. Now let's get talking on this particular matter. It's been one of the trendiest topic right now in Nigeria. Defection all over the country, especially amongst the governors. One amongst them, and the latest of them all, is Pastor Pastor what's the name now? Omoeno. Yes. Omoeno. So let's get talking on this particular issue. Do you really think, with all of these things happen, especially with the defection saga and the fracas that comes with it, he is moving a whole team, a whole crowd from the PDP to the APC. Now, before then, lots of people must have been left behind in all of this movement and taking them to a new place. What do you think then will be left of those possibly that might not have been compensated duly for making sure that Pastor Omoeno took the position of the governor of Akwa Ibom State? So what is left of those people?
Sincerely speaking, Mr. Henry, the governor has taken his steps. And we quite understand the political atmosphere we are facing today in Nigeria. And the governor has looked into all these complaints and has been able to carry out consultation at the ward level, to the local government level, to the state level, among the statements, and has fully gotten the backing of all the sundry, and are taking a step to move massively with this team to APC. And as such, due to the constitutional provision for freedom of association and movement of any individual as long as they're Nigerian, and I think he has exercised that franchise, which is his prerogative and his sole responsibility to take and make decisions for himself. So, and now, as a political leader from the PDP, I knew before the advent of the governor himself, there must have been so many, the supporters that have sacrificed in one way or the other through their resources, their time, carry out campaign to make sure that the governor emerges. And then I believe so many have not yet been, extended a hands of fellowship by the governor, and they are still, waiting to see when this will happen.
Are you sure they are just waiting, or they are aggrieved at the same time waiting?
Well, so many might be aggrieved because, Pastor Moino as a governor, as an individual, cannot certify every person in the state in terms of, compensation or development in critical areas or provision of infrastructure. So they have to wait, and they call for patience, knowing fully well that the government is very vast, and it takes turn by turn for things to evolve. And just as you said, it is the turn of Omoeno probably to, to take a movement to another political climax that he believes will be able to, bankroll and help him to achieve some of his aims. So that might have formed one of the reason why he had to move. And so I believe some of his supporters that are not yet being reached should also have some form of, patience, to wait till the governor is able to reach them.
All right, and let's talk about the gentleman at the center of the news and the story, making rounds in Nigeria. Hardly would you have seen a situation where someone who takes home as much as he does would gladly say he wants to resign from power for personal reasons known to him. But I'd love to ask you, you are a coordinator of an advocacy program. What do you think, or what do you speak of in Mobong's approach to politics in Nigeria?
Mobong has been very, very intelligent, very astute, and very commendable young man that has, grown up in the political atmosphere for some times now. He played a major part in, in the then PDP in 2007, election, and then also 2015 and 2019 and even 2023 election. He has been in, on the appointment of the state government, of successive state governments. And I could remember he, as a student then that he did very well, and he became the NANS president.
Really?
Yes. Wow. So, and it was under the leadership of His Excellencies Dr. Godswill Akpabio that he came into, fame, and probably he did so well during that season. And after then, he also worked with His Excellency Governor Udeme Otong, and even the present governor. He has worked, and he has been given very sensitive position to head the Special Duty and the Ibom Deep Sea Port Commission. As a commissioner, which is very, very critical area in which Akwa Ibom needs it most. But the resignation has been applauded by many, both in social media and through other platforms. The advocate that we might attempt to advocate in this aspect is the resignation. Was it done to discredit the movement of His Excellency or to ridicule the movement? It's left for individuals, to have their own perspective.
But don't you think it was done as a result of personal principle, knowing where he is coming from? He's always been at loggerhead with the APC. So don't you think they did that move because of a personal interest, keeping up with his personal interest of integrity?
That is the main reason why I said it has been widely applauded, for such a sensitive decision, that is very difficult for Nigerians or elsewhere in the world to take. And if I may say, this is one of the first time you have this kind of thing happening down in the South or in Nigeria, where a young man that has been exposed to several, government benefits, decide to, resign from his appointment, citing one reason or the other. But where we we don't want to mix issues, but we want to understand how it comes about. The same day that His Excellency was taking a defecting move to APC, that was the same day the young man decided to throw in the resignation letter.
So don't you think that's a coincidence?
It might be, but in my own perspective, I would have, I would have wanted to see a situation where there would have been some form of decorum and ethics applied in the resignation, because he had all the days. Why that particular day? You understand? And why not after?
So don't you think, yes,
as he remains,
yes,
Umoino still remains a political leader, and whenever a king in so many traditional cultures has any function, we are not supposed to dabble with such opportunities or mingle with it. So that's some perspective that some people hold against the resignation, it's quite applauded. But was it timely? Was it expedient? As at the same time the governor was having a function? These are the questions.
Now, before we even get to if his resignation move was timely and so on and so forth, let's take a look at what even led to the resignation itself. Pastor Omoyeno, the executive governor of Akwa Ibom State, duly stated that there was no negotiation, or there won't be any form of negotiation between him and his commissioners. And he said it in such a condescending manner, that would make anyone feel, come on, are we your servants? Why must you treat us this bad? But talking about whether it was timely or not, don't you think this young man in Mobong would have thought, okay, maybe it might be such that Pastor Omoyeno might have a change of mind, and therefore he held that resignation until that D-Day, where of course it was duly substantiated that he had made the move, and therefore that was the only opportunity he has to throw in the towel. Yeah,
these are opinions, various opinions that elsewhere in the public domain, in social media, but it's left for the person of Mobong to give us what really emanated to that extent, that same day the governor was having a function was the proper day for him to tender his resignation. But as for the issue of having a different ideology, I believe he has said it, that the governor is his brother, and he has deep respect for the governor, which every one of us does. As a matter of fact, we all work very hard. The Akwa Ibom people work very hard to see the governor emerging and as a governor, and then sitting back to see the situation going otherwise. So many people I know will not be happy, as it stands. But as a matter of fact, we need to understand that Mobong also has the right to resignation. Pastor Omoyeno also has the right
to move.
To move. But the way and manner, the process that is being done is very, very important. Not to give room for any, provocation or give room for any disagreement, because what we are after is development in the state.
So it doesn't really matter where the development is coming from, which party it is coming from.
We are yearning for development of Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria in total. Any party that will give us development is what we are yearning for, and that is what Nigerians want. So irrespective of political affiliations, you can see Dr. Alex Oti of Labour Party is not in APC or PDP, but yet is performing very, very well in Abia State. So he's not a member of PDP. He's not a member of APC. So political affiliation should not, emanate or cause for any, kind of provocation or ill feelings from any quarter. That if you decide to defect to another party, whatsoever that party offer, we still have people there in that party. Lagos State is an APC state, and they are doing well.
Very, very true. I understand truly well how that your organization, Arise Agenda Awareness Advocacy, is there to change the narrative and possibly re-educate and re-conscientize people about some of these things. But if you take a look at it from an average Akwa Ibomite, if you go down the street of Uyo, the street of Abak, or wherever it is in Akwa Ibom State, an average Akwa Ibomite is not happy about the move of Pastor Omoyeno to another party. But let's take a look at the history of sycophancy in Nigeria. We've seen it countless times, where people move along with you and you think they hold your back, and at the end of the day, these same people disappoint you. So don't you think, going by the history of sycophancy and the effect on it on the person that they are, of course, supporting, don't you think there is a possibility of everyone except any Mobong who has followed the governor to APC, don't you think they might end up disappointing the pastor?
Well, as a matter of fact, you cannot, just as I said, you cannot satisfy everyone on the street. You know, there are times we as parents take decisions that our children might not be very comfortable with, but later on they will get to understand why their parents took a particular, you know, uncomfortable, unsatisfactory decisions or choices. It has happened. It happens on many occasions. So just like the former, you know, governor of the state, Chief Godswill Akpabio, took a dive into APC far back then in 2019. Many did not foresee him becoming the majority, the Senate president as we speak today. And today it has been a rallying point for many Akwa Ibomites at the national level. So we that sit, you know, and watch how things are unfolding might not be able to see far, but the governor that wears the shoes might have been able to see beyond limitation and be able to know, okay, if he moves to this political party, the tsunami or whatsoever will happen, you know, in PDP will not be able to come near him, and he decided to move on time. So it's a very good political permutation, which is best known to him. Then when you talk about the sycophancy, and it's everywhere. Betrayals you meet every, you know, in every places you work, in organizations, and we still have them in political parties. Many might not be happy or comfortable with the pastor's movement. But as I speak to you, the pastor himself knows his flocks. That was what he said, that he knows his followers, and his followers knows him. So he should be able to, you know, filter and shift and to know those that are seriously behind him, those that are sycophants, those that are, you know, realistic in their approach and their support, and be able to know how he, you know, dabble around with his supporters. So it's left for the pastor, Pastor Omoeno, to be able to understand the people that works around him and know exactly the kind of support that he needs from each of and every one of them.
Now, gratitude is a must. Your organization has done a lot to raise awareness for Akwa Ibom State, like you said, development in the state, and equally support whoever it is that is at the seat of affairs. Pastor Omoeno is the one currently at the seat of affairs, and your organization has been doing a lot. As much as your organization is non-partisan, how do you now navigate to explain to average Akwa Ibomites, not just in Akwa Ibom, but around the world, the change of policy? Because, of course, PDP has a laid down policy it moves with. Now, the pastor is moving to an APC with another set of policies that might be different, even if the most important thing is development. But policy arrangements are different according to the party. How do you now reorient the people that we used to be with the PDP, but we've now moved to the APC, and that it's possible that the same man still holds down his idea of development rather than moving from one policy template to another?
Well, the issue of political parties only evolve when we are to have elections, national or at the state level or at the council levels. And why governance span through 4 years, and that is the mandate given to every political office holder in some cases. So in the aspect of you know, enlightening the people, we have been doing our best to make sure that we come up with you know, agenda and, you know, provide solutions that the government and the people, both to the government and then to the people, because the government comes up with a policy. It takes, you know, it takes a creation of awareness for the people to understand the policy of the government and then follow through the government policy. And the success of every policy is dependent on how the people are able to follow through their policy. So the government of Pastor Omoeno has stated clearly that irrespective of the fact that he is moving to APC, he still holds sway to the Arise Agenda blueprint, which he initiated for the growth and development of Akwa Ibom State. He's talking about the agricultural development, the infrastructural development, security, education, healthcare services, and what have you, empowerment and job creation. And this is the cardinal objective of the government. And our job is to make sure that we persuade and appeal to the policy implementers, which is the pastor, Umaino, and his executive, to hold sway and make sure that all the promises that the governor made during the campaign season have been fulfilled for the goods of the people.
Yes, just before you get to that, your organization has foot soldiers across the 31 local government in Akwa Ibom State. People who are there to really watch and observe and feedback to your office here in Lagos, so you can properly put down your story on how to say. So do you really think, from the observation and the information you have from different local governments in Akwa Ibom State, do you think the people are happy with Umoeno with respect to what he has placed on ground in the last 2 years?
Well, the last 2 years has been very massive development by the governor. This is not to praise the governor, but from what we actually yearn for as an advocacy group, we yearn for an Akwa Ibom that we can have a steady means of income for the people, because we quite understand Akwa Ibom is a civil service state right from time, but we don't expect miracle to happen under a very short span of time. We believe government is evolving, and Umoeno system of governance, strategy in governance, has been able to cut across all level of all the sectors in Akwa Ibom. You talk about healthcare, educational sector, you talk about the road infrastructures, you talk about empowerment. The governor that has come in to pay arrears of gratuity or pensions that were owed to pensioners for decades. He has been able to clear it, and he instituted, insurance policies for workers, declared, compulsory work-free day for workers to go to their farm and eat from what they plant in their farm. So these are major foundations that has to be put in place for any state to grow. And he has measured with empowerment programs, rolling out up to a maximum of 5 million naira for entrepreneurs.
But currently there are over 41% of unemployment in Akwa Ibom State.
Surely it's cutting down bit by bit. Just as I said, all 45% unemployed youth cannot be solely employed under 2 years. It will take decades of constant and resilience of the implementation of the program to see through this process, to make sure that figure is being reduced to the barest minimum. So as we speak, a lot of things is ongoing, and this is a governor that barely a week runs out that a project is not commissioned. A project are being commissioned week by week, week in, week there, and all through the 2 years. I believe if this continues, and that is what we are advocating for, that the governor should not relent, whether he has moved to APC or remains in PDP, development should be the priority to the people. If the governor can put in 70% of the allocated sum to the state into the good of the people, in the next 2 years we will see the difference. And this is what we want. 70% or more of the allocation accrued to the state should be used judiciously to develop, and provide facilities and opportunities for the state to grow.
Right, all right. Just before we leave, I would love to ask you this. Before we get back to the Mobong's issue, do you think that Pastor Umoeno, the executive governor of Akwa Ibom State, how much of listening do you think he has done, especially to your organization? Your organization has done so much in creating and rewriting the story of Akwa Ibom State. Do you really think the governor listens to some of these things that you have? You go around TV stations, radio stations, just to ensure that proper awareness is created. How much of listening do you think the governor is doing?
Well, we come to realize this when the campaign were ongoing, because as a matter of fact, we also monitor all the campaigns of all the political actors in the state, and we were making little input into whatsoever we want to have as an outcome after the emergence of any governor. And it happens that Pastor Moino emerges as the governor of Akwa Ibom State. So with the little input we have been making, at least we've been noticing, some areas of adjustment. For instance, we advocate about the peaceful, disposition and peaceful, atmosphere to be created in Akwa Ibom, and here we have peace. There is unity. We talk about unity between the political actors, former Governor Akpabio, former Governor Udeme Otong, and other political parties. This was a state that you never had, people exchanging pleasantries, before because of political divide. But under this government, and we've been able to advocate for that, and the governor has been able to reach out to all, all assembly and bring peace and bring unity and development to the state. So we've had so many occasions. We've spoken agricultural revolution, in which the governor has to take a massive interest in developing agriculture. The same way we moved to China to import some wares or some materials. That should be the same way. Akwa Ibom should be the center of attraction for tourism, for agriculture, and Akwa Ibom should be known for a particular produce. If it is palm oil, we are looking at the governor, and for instance, we know of the Aqua Palms Estate being, being promoted by the state government. That is what we need. We should be known for production and high quality and high yield palm production. We should be known for cassava production. These are the areas we advocate. Being known for cassava production, it cut across processing and every, selling of the produce and exporting them. So it cut across all areas, and these are what we are beginning to see with time. So we believe somehow he's listening, and he will continue to listen.
Very, very true. Just like we often say here, the most important thing for Nigerians and especially for people from Akwa Ibom State is good governance, just like Obong Thompson had said. They actually do not care. The average man on the street actually does not care, where the political party is coming from. All they are very concerned about is, can we go back home with food and, of course, place it on our table for our children to eat? Can mothers pay for school fees for their children? Can youths roaming down the streets of Uyo and Ikore and other places, can they find jobs when they need any of that? Is there peace in the state? That's what people are more concerned about, and not really about the state. Of course, as much as we love to congratulate Comrade Mobong, for that courageous move, everything still is laced on the function of good governance, which is the most important thing. Thank you so very much, Obong Thompson, for being here. We truly do appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
All right, people, that's just about the time we have. We'd love to say thank you to you for making this picture complete. Please do well to follow us if you may. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching. God bless Akwa Ibom State. God bless Nigeria. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.